Okay.
Hi, everyone. This is Mary Kurek with Frontrunners Innovate. And I have with me a special guest, someone that I've enjoyed having a conversation with already in the recent past. And this is Alexander Omijeh. And he is with Star Codes Incorporated out of Toronto, Canada. But the roots go much further than Canada. So we're going to talk about what he's doing and how he's doing it. I feel like he's kind of like a brother to me because we're doing a lot of similar things, but in different ways. So we're just going to find out the type of impact he's creating and where he's creating it. So welcome, Alex. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Mary. Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction.
Well, I'd rather people hear from you than me because, they hear from me all the time. So let's talk about you and your background and what brought you into Star Codes and some of the other things that you're doing right now.
Okay. Again, thank you for the opportunity to be on your platform. And I originally, as you mentioned, I'm originally from Nigeria. I was born there. I grew up there for many years. And in 2009, I moved here to get a second degree in Canada. So I studied management and then started working for financial company, MasterCard credit card. So we're doing I was working for MasterCard, and then went to a bit of different companies around the financial sectors just to find my foot. But in 2015, I had the opportunity to go back to Nigeria with the Canadian High Commission, that's Global Affairs Canada. And while I was there, I started asking, like, I've been exposed now, I've studied abroad, I've lived abroad, I've worked for different companies. How do I give back to Nigeria where I come from, right? And then started looking for what the pressing needs were that I could make an impact in and add some value. So got into water, because water is a very pressing need back home in Africa, and access to clean drinking water is a issue for many communities. So we started doing water purification solutions, putting wells in communities. And then after a while, things moved forward, and I found out that it wasn't just about digging wells. Some of the wells are really contaminated water anyway. So it's because of different activities going on there. And one of the activities that had the highest impact on water in clean water in that part of Africa where I was in Nigeria was the activities of mining. Mining activities where had a lot of problems. So I started working with mining communities and other communities to put in water treatment plants. So there's a local plant that grows in Nigeria. It's called moringa, and for centuries they found out that moringa purifies water. So we started developing solutions out of the moringa seed cake powder, and that helps to remove about 7 heavy metals from the water, and also it acts as an antibacterial and a coagulant. So basically you mix it up with the contaminated water and leave it for hours to dry up, to settle and to take effect, and then you have clean drinking water.
Wow.
But then there was another challenge with that. And that challenge was that it's not about digging wells or putting water purification systems in these communities. Are they able to sustain it? Are they able to maintain it on the long run? So and my partners, we started thinking about what do we do to help these communities able to manage these plants, these water treatment facilities, 1,000 liters a day treatment facilities. And we thought about, okay, how do we create wealth in the community? How do we take some of that water for drinking and use that for irrigation? And then moving forward, okay, these guys in a lot of these communities are miners, so they mine, and so they make money, but every day they make money, they have no plan for it except from just spending it. So they make money, they spend it, and then the way they mine, it's also detrimental to the environment, so they're causing problems in the environment. And then at the end of the day, these mines are being exploited by the the people up the chain, and how do we organize them into cooperatives? How do we teach them how to create wealth? How do we set up better contracts for them so that they can get more money for the blessings of the natural resource in their community? And got into putting these mining communities into cooperatives, training them, providing safety equipment for them, because one of the mining communities we went to had a disaster happen, and it affected a lot of people in the community, and that was just because they weren't properly planning their mining, they weren't properly using basic safety equipment like helmets and safety boots and all that. So we put all that in place, get them contracts, off-takers, get them all the licenses they need as a cooperative to operate in the space. They need the permits, they need mining licenses, they need export licenses, they need all those business registration. So we do all that for them. And based on those activities we do for them to create wealth, they are now able to sustain their water treatment plants, build a school in the community so that the children are not mining in the community. Nobody wants their kids to mine. It's just because they kind of like impoverished, or they feel that they have no choice. That's why those kids. So if they start making money from those activities, then they can build a school and send their girl children to school. They can take care of their water treatment plant. They can pay for water. It's not charity. We're trying not to do charity. Charity is the old way. Charity hasn't worked. You put a water treatment plant, you get a few investors or funders or donors to donate to a water treatment plant, but it doesn't work.
And then it's done, and there's no sustainability. Yeah.
So that's basically a nutshell of what I am about now.
So it started with water, and then you realized the problem with the water, one of the big problems with the water is it was still dirty even in the wells that would be built. And so when you figure out that one of the biggest problems is the mining, and we talked about lithium as being the issue there, that's what they mine there, correct?
Yeah, so in one of these communities I'm working with, currently working with 3 different communities, and one of them mine lithium. And this is the community we've gone furthermost with in terms of where we are. So they mine lithium, and currently we put a process in place where they are mining more. They're putting in some equipment like excavators and dump trucks to help assist them in mining, and buying them some mining equipment. So now they are able to produce up to about 100 metric tons of lithium ore every month. And we've gotten them good contracts to be able to work and earn a living and take care of their families.
That's a lot of effort on your part, and that takes a lot of creation of relationships, I would think, because I'm sure you're kind of brokering, or you've got a broker that you're working with that's helping you to kind of create these contracts or get these deals to purchase the lithium. So, you know, when we talked before, it seemed like the need was so great that really the mines that you're working with there, or the mining cooperative that you're working there, can't possibly even meet the grand need that is out there. So if they could do better, they could sell more. Is that correct?
Yes, you're right on that one. The lithium industry is growing, the demand is growing, and the projection is that in the next, by 2030, there'll be so much demand that the supply isn't meeting up. The big problem, the big challenge with mining as an industry in the first place is frowned upon, environmental issues and all that. So even in the US and in Europe and Latin America, where they have lithium mines, it takes about 10-15 years from the day you identify a mine at an average in North America till the day it starts producing. So there's all that environmental issue, which is great. We want to be concerned and careful with the environment. The advantage, however, in Africa where we're working, is that they already are mining in these places. They are doing it artisanally, they're doing crudely, they're already producing small quantities, however they are mining. So it's more than brokering now, because brokering is just bringing two people together. Say, okay, you guys do a transaction, I get a, I make a fee. No, I'm actively registering this company. I'm sitting on the board as a director in this company. I'm actively monitoring the activities, and we are growing that company in conjunction with the communities, so that whatever benefits, whatever profits, whatever share value we get is passed on also to the members of our cooperatives and our so we get all the licenses. We go through the procedure, and I go through it. So you're right, there's a lot of steps to it, and it's been a lot of effort, but it's been worth it when I see the value.
I didn't realize it was really what you've done is you built a company and with them. And so, you know, what you've done is create that sustainability factor for them to be able to not only appreciate the benefits of the work that they're doing, do it better, but also to run some of the proceeds right back into the community. So that it becomes an economic development engine, if you will. And that's the best of all worlds right there. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Every company, bigger and better is always kind of what you're aiming for, is always to improve processes and, you know, save money here, make more money there, and, you know, see where else you can create more sustainability and serve a community in a better way. So what are you seeing that's happening now that's maybe causing you to maybe think differently or think ahead for the next 6 months or so for the rest of this year?
Okay, so well, first of all, I'm happy where the trajectory is going, because when we started dealing with these communities, they were just mining haphazardly and every man for himself. But now that we've gotten them together as a cooperative and we're working with them, we've registered them, we have a company with them as shareholders. Now they are able to negotiate better value for their the materials and the minerals they mine from their mines. And then where I see us going is that right now we're still actually even in the very bottom of the whole battery metals, because that's what lithium is basically used for. The primary use of lithium is to make batteries, which they use for electric cars, for your smartphones, for your computers and all that. So we are still at the very bottom of the food chain, of the value chain, and we're not really maximizing our profits. So we are mining the metals just and selling it. We are working now to put a processing plant in place for that community, where we're able to process like 5 tons a day. So nothing major, but at least that adds a lot more value to the product. And instead of selling a ton of materials for $2,000, $3,000, we're able to go up to maybe $5,000, $6,000 for a ton of this material. So adding more value, then transfer some skills, because local mining doesn't require too much skill. It's just axe and shovels and digging. But when we start processing, some of those members of those communities get educated. They move up in terms of acquired labor, skilled labor. They're processing. They are managing a small community plant, and that also brings out maybe some other auxiliary businesses around that. So that's where I see us going, is that we now have to start adding value to our company in terms of setting up a production processing unit to add more value. It's still not making the electric cars yet. Hopefully one day in Nigeria we'll be able to produce an electric car, but at least we can beneficiate our materials. Maybe we can start making battery chemicals and all that.
Yeah. It's a very business viewpoint of creating impact. And that's what you have to look at it as, is you got to create the business to create the impact. And you're already impacting. I mean, for this fairly short time, I would assume that you've been doing this, you've done a lot. You've accomplished quite a bit. So when you look at the impact in the community where you're working with that particular mine, talk to me about schools and, you know, what kind of impacts. Give me a couple of success stories that we can talk about.
So the very, very direct impact is the job creation for for the members of the community. So we have about 200 people on our payroll every month.
Wow.
So 200 men with farms, some of them with families, get paid through our effort in that community. And we've also been able to incorporate the women in the community to work with us. Like when we first got there, the women just stay at the fringes and maybe supply food to the men working, maybe do some heavy lifting. But now we are also training them in terms of helping them learn how to sort out the materials, because that's mainly part of what they like to do. They like to sort out after the mine, they sort out the materials. So they are into sorting and doing a little bit of grading of these materials to make sure that we're getting the right materials out of all that we are mining. So that's a direct impact. Another impact is in terms of putting things in place so that when we mine, we are concerned, or we take into consideration the environment. So they used to have a pond where they wash these minerals, and really the first time I got there, I was like, oh, this is so dangerous, because now they're washing the minerals into the pond, and that pond is going directly into the stream around them. So
they're
we've been able
consuming
to
this.
stop that activity and put and help them in a better way, that they are able to process better, even with less water. And like I told you, moringa seed cake powder is it removes 7 heavy metals from the zinc, iron, lead from the water. So also looking to see how we can incorporate that into the process of mining, and I'll be really happy if I can work with partners on this, into that process of mining, so that when they finish mining, the water that's sent back into the aquifer is run through and processed a bit, so that when it goes back into the ground, at least it's been purified to a certain level, and then the aquifer can take care of the rest. So that's another impact we are impacting. Like I said, we have a water treatment plant in that community, and we've constituted a water board in that community. So it's very independent from what we are doing, but we've been able to fund that, and it's self-sustaining with the water board. All these families who work with us now are able to afford to buy clean drinking water instead of going to the stream to fetch water, or sending their children along. Sometimes these girls walk 4 or 5 kilometers from their homes to the stream just to get water. But if the household has some income and they're able to buy water from a reliable, treated source, then that's also helps save all that time and energy.
That's
and
huge impact.
That's a
Huge impact right there.
Some other impacts we can't even now start to measure, especially maybe even to their health. If they've been drinking water that's been contaminated, what was the incidence of illnesses in those communities before we started, and then after we've worked there for 1-2 years, has that reduced? And if that's reduced considerably, I want to be able to tie that impact to the work we're doing, right?
I would think the local health clinics could be able to help you with that. They'd be able to see a timeline there that would tell you.
That's another thing we need to do, and I'm not sure, and I've been thinking about how to do this. They don't even have a health clinic in the community.
Okay.
So it's something we're trying to do. And when I was talking to my partner, I was like, that's a big task. And apart from putting a health clinic, you have to staff it. But I'm looking at an option. Maybe they have a mobile clinic that comes in once every month to take care of them, because a lot of these doctors have mobile clinics that they can go from communities to community. So maybe engage them in something like that. But we're getting there. We're not where we want to be yet in terms of the impact, but
you're getting there. You're getting there.
Yes.
All right. So you mentioned a partner that you're looking for to help you with the moringa and the water that's processed at the plant, the mining plant. When it goes back, that it's actually cleaned up and it's not, contaminating anything. So we know that that's something that you're looking for. So tell me, who do you need to meet now to help you expand what you're doing?
Mary, the most important thing is, can we grow our operations and can we expand? Because I want everything to be tied around creating prosperity and economic empowerment. I don't want any charity. I don't want. So I'm looking for those kind of partners that either they are buying the products from us or they're ready to invest in the mines to do more expand the exploration. One of the mines we're working with has 82 kilometers square license, and the pegmatites on lithium vein that the geologist has identified already is almost 10 kilometers long. The work we're doing isn't even up to 200 meters. Where we're working on and producing right now is not up to 200 meters. So there's large room for expansion on the 10 kilometer vein. So we need more excavators, we need more equipment, we need those investments, we need offtake contracts in place to do that. So that once that investment comes in, we're employing more people. The community starts to thrive, and then all these other things come in place. Certainly the company wants to do environmental sustainability and put those ESG practices in place, and that would involve us spending money that we made on research and development in terms of how do we better treat the water before we put it back into the aquifer. So do we want a partner that comes in and helps us treat the water? Perfect, but that's putting the cart before the horse. We want to put the horse first. We want that investment to grow the mining activity in a sustainable, environmentally friendly way, and then that way, as they grow, they start investing some of that money in social corporate responsibility, water, schools, clinics, and also in research and development. I think there's a lot of way to do research. Did I tell you that some of the samples from the mine, we sent them to a lab in South Africa? Yeah, it was a costly experience, but at the end of the day, I had when the sample results came out, I sent it to a researcher in India whose research is in lithium pure. He's an excellent guy, smart guy. And he looked at the samples like, are you sure these buyers are buying lithium? I'm like, yeah, what do you mean? It's a lithium. It's like, I see some other rare earth minerals in the samples that are in commercial quantity. So maybe they're just buying the lithium off you, paying for lithium, but
really there's like gold or something.
yeah. The other valuable minerals there needs to be renegotiated, but I don't have the process to identify that. That's why a processing plant will be in place so that we can separate those minerals and sell each of them.
I was going to say sell more than lithium. Just not realizing what you've got. That's amazing. I love that. That's fantastic. So lots of different partnerships, and primarily though the investment partner that you need to really get this thing lifted off the ground. And it doesn't sound like it would take a whole lot because you've got a lot in place. So I always say when people are looking for investors is, what assets are you bringing to the table? Well, you've got some structure. You've got the workers, you've got the desire, you've already got the sustainability sort of factor rolling a bit. It's literally just a few other pieces to put in place to grow it up. And
we have more than a few assets, Mary. We have the basic license, the basic asset. It's the license, and we have the mine itself, which we've already started mining on. So we're sure there's lithium in it. So bringing that to the table alone is huge. And like I said, we've gone through most of the processes where any lithium smelter or battery producer wants to do a mine in North America. It takes 10 years. When I look at it, sometimes I'm like, that's crazy. How do you wait 10 years for your investment to start even producing? But that's what it takes. We've shortcut it. We've brought that down to immediate. If we can hit the ground running and start producing ASAP because we already have everything in place.
And you've got buyers. So that's the other big piece. You've already got buyers. So that's something all investors like to see. You're revenue producing. So fantastic. This is great. I'm so excited that I was able to get you to come on and talk about this, because I think it has so many good things going for it and so much benefit to that area of Africa that it could be replicatable no matter if it's lithium or what they're mining in whatever area of Africa. It's a good template for how to do it. So thank you very much, Alex, for joining us here. And I'm going to share this broadly so that we can see what we can do there. So stay with me for a second, and I'm going to say to everyone else, if you're watching this on YouTube, go to www.frontrunnersinnovate.com where you'll get this interview and anything else that Alex wants to share with us, his bio, his picture, how to get in touch with him. And if there are any pictures of the mine in that area that you happen to have, love to have 2 or 3 of those, and just send them with captions for it, with it. So anyway, thank you very much again. Stay with me. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Mary.